I hope you're having a good day. Let's talk about music practice. So, recently I was having a vocal lesson and I hit this wall. And I've only had like once or twice where I've been in a lesson and I just felt stuck or trapped or that like I almost felt like I was shutting down. And so, but I talked it through with my teacher, figured it out, and we talked about the source of it, what was going on. And I talked about how lately when I've been sitting down to practice music, specifically singing, singing is my main focus. Also learning piano, but yeah, when it comes to voice, I feel like there's a lot of how do I sound today? Do I sound as good as I want to? Can I sing as high as I want to? How's the quality of my voice sounding? And we talked about that and how that's not really effective for optimal practice. When you're sitting there worrying about how do I sound and whatnot, that's how you sound is subjective. Obviously, you can hear the difference between a good singer and a bad singer, and you can even tell if like maybe you are having an off day. But it's really hard to get quality, consistent practice in when you're just sitting there analyzing yourself, either talking down on yourself, or maybe when you have a good day, feeling really good about yourself. But then if you had a really good day, it impacts you when you don't have a good day. And so we talked about how to have effective practice, or when you sit down to practice music, it shouldn't just be okay. Let's go through the song, or let's go through multiple songs, see how I sound, and if I sounded good, then it was good practice. To have a good practice, or what I think is an efficient, effective practice, is to have measurable like pieces of it, whether it's the piece is new or newish, really solidifying your rhythms, getting your timing down or whatever. And then obviously if you're doing like a foreign piece, making sure you know your pronunciation and diction, getting down where you're gonna breathe, all that stuff. There's so much you can consistently work on and polish up on a piece. And so there's and then once you get those in, you can figure out, okay, here's where I'm gonna emote more. Where does it fit in for this to become louder, more expressive, more quiet? And after all of this, I feel like then you can ask yourself, okay, how do I sound in this piece today? Because if you don't have all these different like foundational blocks placed in, and you get like the frosting on the top of the cake, um, then you can eat the cake. But if you don't have, but if you don't have it, then you kind of just you're trying to eat the unbaked cake. I just came up with that metaphor. But so I've applied this now for during the time like the holidays and Christmas and whatnot. My teacher and I had about 3 weeks to 4 weeks apart, and in between then, my main goal was for this Italian piece that I'm working on for an audition coming up, and it was to really solidify my rhythms. And I had the pronunciation down pretty well, and the rhythms, and where I was gonna take more of my breaths. And so I sat down and I made it manageable too. I just told myself I'd do it like 3 days a week, 20 to 30 minutes for a session. And I sat down. I didn't just sing through the piece thinking, okay, do I sound good today? No, I sat down. I had an accompaniment on YouTube that I worked with for it, or I just got a 3/4 metronome set up because that was a time signature of my piece. And I sat there, I'd run it. I'd focus on the parts or the sections of the song that I could have just done better in my pronunciation, or that I was having trouble. Analyze those parts, what are those parts, and figure out a way around that. And then that's what made me feel like I was having an effective practice, because I was going into a piece, analyzing it, finding the areas that I was struggling in, and then patching them and building them up. And so I feel like this can be applied for any instrument. I think obviously I'm not as much of an instrumentalist as some people might be, and so I can't speak from that much as regard. But I like to think that it's all similar, and that obviously you have. I also played viola a lot in middle school and then in high school for a bit, and so usually you have some days where you feel great and some days you don't, and not letting that affect your, because I feel like a lot of something that I've been battling with too, or analyzing in my brain and whatnot, is how it's hard when a lot of your life consists around music and it's a huge passion you want your job to be in some regard, whether you want to be a performer or a teacher or anything in that aspect, and that your voice especially, I feel like it's really vulnerable in that it's yours. And so, or when you're playing an instrument, and that you've invested so much time into it and it's such an identity to you, and so when you have an off day, it feels like, am I not worth as much as a human? Like you feel bad about yourself, And so trying to come to terms and just accept that I'm gonna have off days. My body is gonna be a little different each day. And so just accepting that and always looking for factors that you can control for the most part, and realizing that there are factors you can't control, and you have to accept that. You gotta breathe, you gotta let it be, and just the biggest thing for me that I've been sort of having just rediscovering the joy of it. And I feel like I was so focused on wanting to sound good that I wasn't even really letting myself enjoy my music practice. And so when you let go of the idea of needing to feel like your voice sounds good, I think that's when you can let yourself have fun again and have efficient practice. So I hope this was helpful in any way. This is my sort of first video like this. My audition coming up is for my music education program. I finished my associates last spring and didn't really know for sure what I wanted to do. If I'm being honest, I like bounced forward between, like, part of me thought theater stuff for a while and whatnot, but then there's also, I realized that it's more of a hobby for me than anything. And after doing my first sort of like semi-professional show, and that, you know, maybe I don't want this to be my whole life career, but I should enjoy doing it. And realizing that, hey, music is what at a core is what brings the most joy to me, and I want to spread that to other people. So got that coming up here in about a month or so, or less than a month, like 3-4 weeks. Woo! So yeah, just a little rambly there. I don't know if anyone's gonna see this video, but if you do, and if you're at this point, thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great day, and maybe I'll see you next time. Bye.